Now the second idea that I have in mind is really more of a thriller movie idea, because the reason I really enjoy thrillers, kind of like um, David Fincher does a lot of thrillers, and but this one is really more like an action thriller military type thing. And again, I have no title for this, so if you have an idea for a title, but feel free to put a comment down below. Um, so yeah, anyway, I'm gonna tell you guys about it. Anyway, the idea is still sketchy at this point. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but uh, it's basically it's about there's this one guy who I want this guy to be called maybe I want to call him uh, Jesus uh, Jesus Ramirez. I want to say Jesus Ramirez or something like that. Maybe I could change it later on, depending how I feel like. And he's pretty much a soldier that works for America, even though he's of Mexican descent. And the reason and the person I want him to play him is Danny Trejo. That's right, Machete himself, or Machete, or whatever. Because my feelings about Machete. I just uh, it, I'm not crazy about Machete, but I like Danny Trejo. Anyway, he's a good actor, Danny Trejo, and I'd like to play and see him play this one. And he works with these two other guys. I want one guy to be played by I'm thinking Mark Strong to play this guy. One guy, which inadvertently later turns out to be the villain of the movie, and I would like to see Mark Strong would play him. Call him uh, maybe I can't come up with a name for him just yet, but a good villain name. I could come up with that later. But no, played by Mark Strong to give you give you guys an idea of how he looks like. He'd be played by Mark Strong. And there's this other guy who works with him who is a lot more close friends with, and he's his name. I want the guy's name to be John Kyles. Now there's a reason why I chose that last name Kyles. Why? Because John Kyles is going to be played by Kyle Reese himself, Michael Biehn. Now we all know Michael Biehn from, of course, Terminator, Aliens, Navy SEALs, The Rock. Ugh, so many great movies. Lately he's been, I think right now he was in, oh yeah, he did that video game for Far Cry 3 called Blood Dragon, which is just great, great little side story for Far Cry 3. Anyway, so he's gonna be playing John Kyles in this one, but they're gonna call him Jack, or yeah, call him Jack Kyles. Yeah, Jack is a better name. Yeah. So these three are kind of like they work together in the military, but then eventually uh, after time, one of them goes political, and the other two help this guy be political because kind of as a way of help, because I'm actually getting a lot of inspiration from historic stuff, like Che Guevara, Pancho Villa, because Che Guevara at one point wanted Fidel Castro was actually helping Fidel Castro to gain power in Cuba, because apparently Fidel Castro was gonna get Cuba out of poverty, make it a better place. But Fidel Castro then at the last minute did a complete 180, and then once he was in power, he went after Che Guevara, and Che Guevara pretty much hid out in Cuba, or I think he fled Cuba, because he was being hunted down, and Pancho Villa was being at the same time, I think back in the 1910s. I think he was being hunted down by this other colonel. an American general, because Pancho Villa had destroyed one of the major cities in Texas called Columbus, Texas. Or Columbus, New Mexico. I can't remember. And I want to say it's New Mexico, but anyway, Pancho Villa was hiding out in the desert, out in the open, and the colonel, he could not find Pancho Villa. He just went home. So it's kind of like a cat and mouse type thing. And anyway, in my movie, Michael Biehn and Danny Trejo help Mark Strong to become a political leader. And I want to say the U.S., just based in the U.S. And but then once Mark Strong becomes power and goes to power, he wants to get rid of Danny Trejo. Why? Because he's a jerk. Nah, I just haven't come up with a reason yet, but maybe it's because he knows too much, you know. So he goes after Danny Trejo, but he sends Michael Biehn. See, Michael Biehn stayed with Mark Strong, and even though he thinks he's doing the right thing, but he doesn't know exactly what he's doing. So he's just obeying orders. He's a good soldier, so he's obeying orders. He goes after to find his friend Danny Trejo to bring him back to the political guy who's now the bad guy. And the entire movie revolves around Danny Trejo and Michael Biehn in a force. Michael Biehn has got his like maybe 10, I want to say 20 soldiers on his side finding Danny Trejo. Little does he know that Danny Trejo has his own army. It's like in the third, and maybe 30, 40 soldiers on his side. And it's gonna be like a really strange. It's gonna be like a complete mind game. Mind game between Michael Biehn and Danny Trejo. Now, just because it's a thriller doesn't mean it doesn't have a lot of It's not gonna have action. It's gonna have a lot of action, because at the end, the movie, they decide. I'm gonna decide that Michael realizes that what he's doing is wrong, and then him and Danny Trejo team up and go after Mark Strong. And that's when the real, action scenes take place. You're gonna have a few action scenes here and there in the forest, because I want to see some cool action scenes in the forest, and that'd be kind of cool. So yeah, that's basic idea right there. And who I would like to see directed, just to give you guys an idea of how I would like the movie to look. I would like to have Scott Mann do it. I really like The Tournament. I really like The Tournament, when the movie he did, and so I would like to see Scott Mann do it. Direct that movie. And again, I have no title for this movie. If you guys have an idea for a title, feel free to put it down below. And I apologize if I'm a little out of it right now. It's just there's kind of a lot of distractions around here lately. But yeah, those are my two ideas. And let me guys know what you think. If you have any suggestions or ideas for titles, or if you didn't like it, feel free. Just remember, there's a difference between giving your opinion and being an asshole. You guys are free to give your opinion, but this is basically not for my friends. There's other people that come on here try to be assholes. So anyway, yeah, just feel free to leave some feedback down below. And as for my videos, the tributes, I'm gonna be making tributes sometime soon. But for now, I'm gonna try to see if I can download a better version of Movie Maker. So I'm gonna wrap this video up. I'm gonna end it by saying what I always say. This is MKN Forever. Tony, sign off. Later.